We're talking about utilizing black pepper in your cooking or a piperine supplement to improve autophagy. Autophagy is cellular cleanup. It's cellular recycling. It's what happens when you have old, decrepit components of cells that need to be recycled to ultimately fuel the healthier cells. It's survival of the fittest, literally at a cellular level. When you look at content online surrounding longevity and lifespan, any honest content is going to link back to exercise and nutrition. Those are the two key pieces, particularly exercise. But there are other things that can potentially improve longevity without exercise. And without being cheeky and without being gimmicky, let's talk about them. So the first one is one that is pretty commonly used as a supplement to improve like heart health, and it's talked about in that world. But it's not really talked about from a longevity perspective. So let's go ahead and dive in. So the first thing I want to talk about is a supplement, and it's coenzyme Q10. And I want to give you some literature as to why it's so powerful, because it's not just about increasing lifespan, it's about increasing quality of life. Now, coenzyme Q10 is important for cell function and also for reducing oxidative stress. We'll talk about it mainly from the energetic side. Basically, it allows electrons that are received from the food that you eat to more efficiently be turned into energy. That's the simplest way to kind of explain it. So the study that I want to reference was published in the journal Nutrition, Health, and Aging. Took a look at elderly people, and it had them consume either selenium, coenzyme Q10, or a placebo, and then monitored them for 4 years. So they looked at their quality of life and they looked at number of hospital visits. The group that took coenzyme Q10 had significantly less time spent in a hospital, and they also had significantly higher quality of life. So they had less reductions in quality of life, less reductions in cognitive function, and less reduction in physical competency. So they overall were just healthier people with a better quality of life. So how it works is when you eat food, you're going to take electrons from the food that you eat. It's energy, right? And those electrons go into your mitochondria and they pass through this gradient. Now, in simple terms, they basically drop and create a little explosion each time they drop. That little explosion gets harnessed into energy. In a lot of ways, it's like an internal combustion engine. But coenzyme Q10 makes it so that when the electron drops, it's able to be caught on something a little bit bigger. Because if that electron doesn't land on the ground, it can bounce and it can go rogue and it can actually decrease your quality of life. So it increases the efficiency in which you use energy, which is exactly what we want, especially as we get older. The next one is another supplement, and it's NMN. Most of the data with nicotinamide mononucleotide is in mice. However, now we're starting to see some interesting human research as well. So the first study I want to reference is a rodent model study, just to get the context out there. So this study was published in Cell Metabolism. It took a look at healthy mice, and they found that when they gave healthy mice NMN, it prevented the age-related physiological decline. That is fancy jargon for it decreased the physical effects of aging. It prevented them from aging physically as much as, or more so than mice that were not taking the NMN. Now, additionally, they found that it increased their physical activity, it increased their insulin sensitivity, it prevented age-related weight gain, and it improved their cholesterol and lipid profiles. So why is this happening? Like, what is so interesting about NMN? Well, basically, NMN also allows you to have more cellular energy. After this video, I put a link down below for Seed Probiotic. I don't always take probiotics because a lot of them out there are complete garbage, but Seed puts their money where their mouth is. They utilize a capsule inside of a capsule technology, which has a multi-stage delivery. So you're getting a prebiotic and a probiotic in one. If you crack the capsule open, there's literally another capsule inside. So really cool technology. And when you're talking about the world of longevity, well, gut health does matter. It's one of the biggest pieces when we're talking about inflammatory responses, and we're talking about, of course, digestion. Again, if you're making any change to your diet this year, one of the first things you want to do in addition to that is change your probiotic or change your gut microbiome a little bit so that your body can actually start making those changes internally. So that link down below, we have this thing in our body called NAD, and it's somewhat of a finite resource. NAD is so important to human function that if we did not have it, we would be dead within 15 seconds. So as we get older, our stores of NAD decline. NMN is a precursor to NAD. So when we supplement with NMN, in theory, you're creating more available NAD. More available energy to not only literally give you energy, but also conduct other things. So think about having sort of an extra set of hands. It's like having an assistant. You now have extra energy that can go activate other things and do other things that are good for longevity. But now there's a human clinical that was pretty interesting with NMN. This was published in the journal Science, and it took a look at pre-diabetic people and put them on NMN for 10 weeks. What they found is that NMN increased insulin sensitivity within the muscles of these humans. This is very important for metabolic health as we get older. What does that have to do with longevity? All roads lead back to the mitochondria. So if our muscle cells are unhealthy as we get older and we're not insulin sensitive, then our mitochondria start to suffer. And mitochondria is where we manufacture energy, so that our energy declines and we become frail, we become weak, and we eventually metabolically kind of die. So if we can preserve that a little bit by increasing insulin sensitivity, we improve once again the energy. It all comes down to maintaining that energy as we get older. This next one is woo-woo witch doctory, which I love because people love to hear this stuff and totally rain on the parade of it. We're talking about ginger. There's something in ginger called 6-gingerol. Now, most of the literature on ginger is going to be in mice and fruit flies. Drosophila. Okay, now they do this because it's easier to conduct a little bit more in vitro or longer term lifespan studies. But what they found